incident that had allegedly happened just a
Ahoy, ladies and gentlemen, how are you doing? Welcome to the BBC Spews Live. What's the date? I thought it was the 4th of July. It's not. That's not until tomorrow. Weird that, innit? Well, we're supposed to be going away, you see, for a night tonight, and I assume my missus booked it so we could go out on 4th of July, but I guess we're going out on the 3rd of July, and then we'll be hungover on the 4th of July, which is a bit of a British tradition, isn't it? Where's my BBC Spews overlay gone? That's weird, isn't it? Oh, there we go. Haha, sorted. Wonder why that disappeared. Anyway, welcome to the BBC Spews Live. How's everyone doing? Plenty of you in already. Kate, thanks for moderating. Ragnar, now then, Mike, Carl Burton, and anybody else who I've missed. There is shitloads of you, so you're not all getting a name drop. I can't do it when there's loads of you, can I? What do you want me to do? Can't give every individual person in the chat a handy. So you'll just have to take a broad welcome. Have it. First things first, this story, not on the BBC, but I need to cover it because it is shocking. Hopefully the audio works. Listen to this. Someone sent me this. Mark sent me on Facebook. Absolutely disgraceful. The coppers in England are about as much use as a nun's minge. Aren't they? Just totally shocking. And people like us that pay attention have been slagging them off for years. Public trust in the police is as low as it's ever been because of this type of shite. But just watch this and prepare to be flabbergasted. There's a word I don't use very often. Flabbergasted. Look at this.
A few days ago, a local resident was coming along this street. They approached a police officer who was parked up in his vehicle on the street to report an incident that had allegedly happened literally 200 or 300 yards from here. The entire exchange between the officer and the member of the public was recorded on a dash cam, and it was quickly on TikTok. I'm going to show you that clip, but pay close attention to the response from the police officer.
You need to get around to the co-op. Honestly, there's just been a fight round there because people are trying to stop the shoplifters that you're doing nothing about. There's a member of the public just been assaulted by a 15-year-old girl who's drunk, had a drink thrown in her face, got punched. People have called the police. We come around here and you're sitting here. I'm not responsible. I know you're not, but the sight of the car will make them scatter. Even then I have to deal with it. And you're afraid to deal with it.
Can you believe that? I'm not a response unit. Like, they're literally 200 yards away from a crime. And he's like, nah, I'm not a response unit. This is what I was telling you lot years ago. Parrot and Peter Hitchens as usual. Because he was saying, get them out on the beat. Don't even give them a car. Don't give them a partner. Get them out on the beat. If you hire a few thousand, literally, this is what I've told you. You could sort this out in a week. You don't even need to recruit anybody else or spend any more money. You literally just say, right, every police needs to be a bloke, policeman over the fucking height of 6 foot who is actually capable of intimidating young lads and lasses, is getting a bike and going round on the beat on their own. And when you see crime, you stop it. And literally overnight, every metric that we measure societal harmony with would improve massively, because not just crime going down, but confidence from all the general public. Normal people would feel more safe and they'd be happy to go out, and everything would just instantly get better. The idea that this twat just says to him, oh, but I'm not a response unit, is disgraceful. It's disgraceful. It's almost as bad. Do you remember a few years ago when the Met Police Commissioner said, basically there was 2 police women getting ragged all over by some big black bloke, and the coppers were like, oh, if the general public aren't willing to step in, we're going to stop policing the streets. And I was like, are you having a fucking laugh? This is what, and 10 years ago, before I became completely disillusioned with the state of our society, I would have helped. But now, if I see two policewomen getting filled in, I'm off. I'm just going to chuckle, maybe take a video and leave them to it. Because I'm not paid to fucking police the streets. They are. And when they're incapable of doing it, I find it hilarious. They shouldn't be hiring these people. This cringing coward sat there in his car playing on fucking Angry Birds, refusing to go and stop a crime because he's an absolute fanny. What a flange. And have you seen the clip of all these coppers now? Absolute fannies. I told you, my mate, he's since quit, a detective in the Met. And he told me, like, the most recent pass-out parade that he went to watch, because Cressida was there. And he said, you should have seen the clip of them, the coppers. He said every one of them was a little fat pot-bellied dwarf. Right? But what are they going to do? What they're going to do? It's unbelievable. So this twat, I guarantee, you can't really see the copper very much, but I guarantee he couldn't put a fag out. He wouldn't be able to knock the fluff off a cappuccino, this soft twat. Absolute cringing, spineless cowards. It's disgraceful. Anyway.
Then, that's not the point. It kind of is the point. That's the perception.
One here and not down there.
So I've just jumped into a taxi to show you how quickly the police officer could have actually got round the corner. Now, we do have a statement which, while we're making that journey, from Sussex Police. They've said an investigation is underway into a report of shoplifting and assault,
And that's all they ever do. They always just say, investigation. It won't go anywhere. Won't lead to anything. Nobody will do anything about it. Investigation is the government crack when you just want to brush something under the carpet. Oh, yeah, investigation. Done. And if they're investigating, fuck all. They don't investigate shit. So I'm telling you, in Britain, if you get burgled and you ring them and they go, oh, well, investigate it. They don't. It's like a really disinterested employee when the phone rings and they go, yeah, do you want me to take a message? Yeah. Cheers then. As soon as I put the phone down, message in the bin, and they go back to what they were doing. These coppers are just a fucking joke. Totally useless. They're a waste of money. I can't believe we pay them. I cannot believe they get a salary.
which took place at the Co-op store in Lansing on Thursday, the 29th of June. The actions of the member of the police staff involved in the video are under review. This, of course, coming at a time when public confidence in the police is at an all-time low. Here we are. This was where the incident was reported at the Co-op, and we've managed to get here in 26 seconds, man.
26 seconds. 26 seconds in a taxi. So if you put the lights on, you'd be there in 10. 10 seconds. What a wanker. That is unbelievable. So there we go. Thanks for sending me that. That is, I mean, I keep using the term unbelievable, but it's wrong to say that, isn't it? Because I have been harping on about this probably since I started YouTube. Thousands of people have voiced the same opinion. The police in the UK are not fit for purpose. They are completely, utterly useless. They need tearing down, dismantling them. Just fucking get rid of them all. And then we'll have to promote vigilantism for 6 weeks while they weed out which ones are actually competent and capable. And just bin there. I seriously think we should, at this point, we should bin like 60% of our police departments. Like, it seems to me none of them are useful. None of them. And then just hire. How long have we been saying it for? Hire veterans. People think, I don't know where this left-wing shite started, but they seem to think coppers shouldn't be veterans because they're more likely to be aggressive and violent. But even that's not actually true, because normal blokes like me who just get trained and then deploy, you know, they bang it into you about the rules of engagement, about following the letter of the law so you don't shoot innocent people. And it very, 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 very rarely happens. There's very rare that there's an issue, especially with the elite regiments like the Marines and the Paras. It's very rarely an issue where you're getting blokes. Marine A was the last big one, wasn't it? Al Blackman, probably, what was that, 12 years ago or something? Ages ago. It's mega, mega rare when they behave unprofessionally and twat someone who doesn't deserve twatting. So they'd be perfect coppers. You know, because when you're a British soldier, you know that they haven't got your back. Do you know what I'm saying? This is the crack. We know they haven't got our backs. This is why I despise the Navy, the headshed. I hate them because I knew they didn't have our backs. They are desperately looking to nail you. They care about the Afghans. They don't care about you. Every British soldier knows the higher uppers do not care about you. They will look for any excuse to prosecute you. Cherie Blair, that horrible, wonky-faced, bony slut. She was, when I was in Afghanistan, everyone was talking about her. How Cherie Blair was representing all the Afghans and how she was desperate to nail any of the lads. The Paras fucked her hand up. Well, see, I would point out that was the Paras were shocking in the 70s. They're like fucking. They used to say they were like hooligans with guns, didn't they? But again, in this day and age, I don't think so. I think they've got rid of that reputation. When I deployed to Northern Ireland in like 2001, we had a good reputation by the time I was out there. I think the incidents of brutalizing people or negligent discharges or, general brutality were really, really, really low. Certainly when I was out there, public trust was high in about 2001. So they get it. British soldiers know that the government will fuck them if they shoot somebody who doesn't deserve it. So the idea that they'd be too aggressive or too violent is completely ludicrous. And that's what we need to do. We need to get back to basics with the coppers and just start hiring grizzled veterans who are physically fit. And even bring back the height requirement, me. I'd be like, if you're not 5'10", you can't be a bobby. You've got to at least, and definitely have a BFT like the military do. Like, if you can't pass a fitness test twice a year, then you've got remedial PT for a month. And if you can't pass it, you're getting binned. They need basic. I mean, even in America, the coppers are a bit shit. The standards are shocking. I flirted with the idea of joining up, and I was reading about the basic fitness standards for a copper out here. They're ridiculous, fucking shocking. Any bastard could pass it. I mean, my nana could do it when she was 80. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. When I went, it wasn't. I mean, the height of the troubles was always kicking off in Ireland, and we had a bad reputation. But again, by the time I went, it definitely wasn't the case. I'm from Stockton, and you can't walk the street. Yeah, but that is Stockton. Stockton's always been rough. You know what is funny? I read about a bloke in Borough who got raped by like 2 Nigerians or something. And I used to laugh about that because I read about it happening in London or something in the 90s. And my Uncle Ian chuckled once when I was a teenager because me and our Lee were going for a walk down the Dell at Colby Newham. And he said, get us so-and-so from the shop. And he said, right, see you later, lads. And I said, oh, you never know. If we get unlucky, we might get bummed by a big black bloke. And he started laughing and said, bummed? I went, yeah, I read about it like on the BBC. There was like actually blokes getting bummed in London. And he went, he didn't believe me because, he's older, like a boomer. He was like, nah, I'm not having that. And then I found the story and showed him it. And he was howling like, God, I can't believe that. Now that's happening in Borough. It's like we've imported that from London. At least Middlesbrough had its problems. But you didn't end up with an arsehole like a wizard sleeve when you went for a walk to the shops. You know what I mean? We had our problems, we did. But getting bummed by big black men was not an issue we used to have in Middlesbrough back in the day. And that's where we've gone. Everything's totally fucked. What's this? Be a critical mistake, what, being a copper? No, well, like I said, this is the thing though, when I was younger, 10, 15 years ago, I still believed in the institutions. Obviously now I don't. I'm a grizzled cynic. But back in the day, I used to think that, the system worked, and now we know they don't. Absolutely shocking. But as I said, the police is just a fucking joke. Anyway, I don't want to just keep ranting about the police. We all know that they are not fit for purpose and they need fucking dismantling, right? So there's no need to go on about it anymore. Oh yeah, look at this trending on Twitter as well. Ireland belongs to the Irish. Like I said, this is funny because I think I was talking about this with Rags and Jack when I was on their stream. Basically, there's an element of you that almost wants to gloat when you see how bad it's getting in Ireland, because they used to love taking the piss out of us. We talk about places like Bradford and Birmingham, and they used to love it, didn't they? Like, hey, fucking, your country's a shithole, lads. I've loved the fact they've just copied all the worst ideas. Here's a great idea. It's like, yeah, the English, they're too different from the Irish. Yeah, we need shot of them. I think we should bring in 20,000 Somalians. They'll fit right in. I mean, that is fucking lunacy. British and Irish culture's almost identical. It's like we've also been interbreeded for thousands of years. Like, there's very few people in England who haven't got some Irish ancestry somewhere down the line. We've been mixing and mingling for thousands of years, and they were like, we just can't abide Scousers over here. We can't integrate the English into Ireland. They're just too different. Then they see a bloke who looks like, Osama bin Laden's fucking granddad. He spends all day sitting on a carpet, and they're like, "Oh, you can come over to Dublin, mate. You'll fit right in." Oh, people who can't even drink alcohol. I mean, there's the thing, because let's have it said, the stereotypes kind of are true, right? The British and the Irish drink too much. The Americans talk about that all the time. Sort of pissheads. The one group of people that wouldn't fit in somewhere like Ireland, where culturally everybody loves to go for a pint and socialise in the local pub, is the one group of people who cannot drink alcohol and refuse to drink alcohol, and not only refuse to drink it, aggressively think you shouldn't be allowed to drink it as well. Because this is what's always annoyed me about religious zealotry. It's like, the world's big enough for everyone. Why can't you just do it you, and I'll do me? But that's never enough for them. The lads who hang out at the big Golden Bell End churches, those lads cannot accept the fact that we like a pint. It's like, if you believe that it's haram, don't drink. I support your right to not drink. But why do you have to tell me that I can't? It's always the same with them. And that's why they're pernicious, because when they're in a tiny minority, Christopher Hitchens talked very eloquently about this numerous times. God rest his soul. And he said it's never enough for them. They have to try and compel everybody else to do it. It wouldn't be as much of a problem if they just didn't want to eat. If they didn't want to eat pork and they didn't want to drink beer. But as soon as they get into legislative power, it's like, yeah, we're banning booze and we're banning bacon. Suck on it. And it's like, this is why I do not understand the woke liberals. Like I said, the mental gymnastics required genuinely staggers me, because somehow that's what they do. Somehow they can have these polar opposite opinions simultaneously. They stick up for the most illiberal people in the world. The reason I've always been against theocracy is because I'm socially liberal, and I think you should be allowed to do you and they should be allowed to do them, but they don't agree. They think, no, I'm not going to drink alcohol, so you fucking can't. Why do you think it's illegal in all these places? It's not when you go to Iran or Saudi Arabia, they're all like, you're Western, you can drink as much as you want, get yourself to the titty bars, eat your bacon sarnies, enjoy yourselves. Like, no, they fucking ban it. And that's why it pisses me off. I do not understand how you can call yourself liberal and constantly defend the most illiberal people in the fucking world. Genuinely baffles me. Anyway, let's listen to this. I haven't actually watched this. They aren't riots. It's a war. They want to kill us. Police in France. Brilliant. Come on then, let's listen to this Johnny Frenchman.
People talk about riots, but for those of us who have to deal with it, they aren't riots. It's war. The people who are standing in front of us are there to kill us. They have Molotov cocktails, they have stones, they come to within 3 meters in front of us. They have enormous paving stones which they throw at us to try to kill us, not to play with us. They are there to kill us.
Brilliant. I love that. I told you that's like the meme though, isn't it? Where it shows the bloke sweating and there's 2 buttons, and one of them's like, be disgusted at the rioters attempting to kill people. Be happy that France is fucked. Because there's a just similar. I was talking about the Irish. There is an element of grim satisfaction to it when you're an Englishman and France is on fire. But you've got to try and resist the worst elements of your nature and try not to laugh about it, because it is shocking. Like, ultimately, as I've told you a lot, you know, the natural human response is to start with your immediate circle and then work outward with regards to the importance of it to you. So the most important thing here is your family, your immediate family. And then the next important thing is your friends, close friends and neighbours. And then next importance is your town. You know, obviously I love Middlesbrough because that's where I'm from, even though it's a dump. And then you like your region, and then you like your country, and then you like your continent, right? I prefer Europe to Asia or Africa. And that's normal. It's normal human response. So all jokes aside, it's not good that France is getting shagged. I'll joke about it all the time. But in all seriousness, it's not good, is it? Because they're our European cousins. If you go back far enough, right, we've all got French ancestry, or most of us. It's shocking, really. And there's nothing good about it. The other reason why it's not funny is because, like I said, this is coming to everyone. This is coming to every country in the Western world. Don't be gloating about it, because London is one bad day away from the exact same thing. You know for a fact it is. London is one bad day away from fucking Paris. There's the same demographics getting imported all the time. And this is what I keep telling people. You must understand that it's only going to go downhill from here. The optimism from the insane walk doesn't make any sense to me at all, because I just think, where are you getting this optimism from? Like, the third world now know about the first world, and they're coming, and our leaders aren't interested in stopping them. So every single year, Europe is going to get millions of fighting age men from third world countries, angry, bad-tempered, high testosterone fighting age men every year. And the optimism comes from where exactly? Because is 2024 going to see less angry fighting age men coming to Europe? What about 2025? What about 2026? If you go forward 5 years, are there going to be 10 million more fighting age angry young men living in Western Europe? Yeah. So where's the white pills come from? Where's the optimism come from? It's fucked. Europe is absolutely toast. Paris used to be famous for its scram. In a few years' time, it's going to be like fucking Demolition Man. You'll have to go there and you'll be like, hey, I swap you my watch for a rat burger. No, that's what it's going to be like. Famous for its cuisine. When I went as a young kid, I think we went on a school trip in like 96 or something. When I went to France in the 90s, it was like, you know, it smelled of wine and garlic. Now it smells of burning pubes and melting tires. It's a shithole. It's an absolute shithole, and it's only going to get worse. I've told you, anyway, I was arguing with a liberal yesterday. The Bootneck argues with people. That's what I do. You know this. I'm naturally cantankerous. I was arguing with a bloke who I get on with, actually, but he is a liberal. And so, again, it's fine in normal people when you argue in the pub. You don't fall out, do you? You just have the argument. And he was saying to me, no. He said, if you want to see what's going to happen, just check history. And I was like, yeah, I always say that. History is a form of prophecy. And he's like, yeah, well, if you look at history, it's always a pendulum. We always go too far one way and then too far another. And I think we've went quite right-wing now, and Trump came in and we had all this. So we're going to go back left. It's going to be all right. And I was like, are you having a laugh? We're saying we're doing the same thing, but I have a totally different outlook than you, because I am following history and using it as prophecy. And let me tell you what I think is going to happen. As usual, Europe, the continent, because they are more fiery than we are, as usual, the Continentals are going to start voting for full-blown, hardcore, right-wing mad cunts. And history will repeat itself, but it won't repeat itself in the way he thinks. It's going to repeat itself in the way I think, which is toothbrush, moustache, one bollock dwarf, barnstorming across Europe and gassing people. That's where it's going to go. Because think about it logically. How does it go any differently? When people get disenfranchised, they vote for extremists, right? So are the people, think of it, I'll put it as simply as I can. Do you think France is less or more likely to vote for Le Pen after another 4 years of fucking importing angry, hairy, scary, fighting-age men with meat cleavers? Answers on a postcard. In fact, I told you lot this last time. I think it must have been like a year or two ago. When was it Macron? It was about a year ago, wasn't it? And I was talking to you lot just before the election, and I said, it's going to be way closer than you'd think. Macron will win, but Le Pen might win next time. And if she doesn't win next time, she might win in 8 years, 10, whatever. Whatever's happening, eventually you are going to get a right-wing mad cunt on the continent. Italy, France, the Germans have been so conditioned by brainwashing after Adolf, because funny old thing, a deranged one bollock dictator sticking people in ovens does sort of have a visceral effect on the general public. So the Germans are more immunized against it than the French and the Germans, and the Italians. But even the Germans, eventually, if it keeps getting worse, you take drastic steps. This is the most logical thing in the world. And I can't believe that these woke loopy fuckers cannot see it. The worse it gets, the more people embrace extremism. And it's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. And it might, and they're all celebrating when Macron won. Macron, yes, well, we have rejected the far right. Yeah. Well, see if they're rejected in 4 years or 8 years or 12 years. But whatever is coming, it's going to be bad, because there is no plan on the horizon where Europe suddenly starts getting better again. 2024 is going to be worse than 2023. 2025 is going to be worse than 2024. There is no limit to this. It's like the loony left in England when they're talking about immigration not being a problem. How many people do you think we can comfortably accommodate? When AOC in America here, or fucking Diane Abacus over there are talking about immigration, and they're saying, yeah, it's fine, we can handle it. Merkel, little fat poison dwarf that she is, fucking coward who's wrecked Europe. When she's saying, oh, we can do it, we can take 3 million in. It's like, okay, let's just say we probably can. It'll drag your quality of life down a little bit if you're letting 3 million hairy ass blokes, because you've got to feed them and pay for them, and then the rest of the taxpayers will have less money to go around. So it'll have an effect, but we can handle it. We'll just have a slight dip in our quality of life. But what's 3 million? I mean, how many people do you think are in the third world? For Christ's sake, we could take 30 million, and they'll still keep coming. The left appear to think that they're going to run out of people. Do you know what I mean? Have you seen the population of places like Somalia and Nigeria and Morocco, Algeria, Morocco, Pakistan, India? I mean, there's a lot of scary, hairy, poor men in 24 countries that are constantly flocking to Europe, and they're not going to run out of people. It's not going to happen. Like, you've got to have the mathematical ability of Diane Abacus if you think you can fit them all in. We could take in 100 million. If we took 100 million in, would that stop? Another 100 will come. It's basically, it's common sense. We have a finite piece of land and a finite amount of resources, and we have, statistically, it might as well be infinite, because there's over 1 billion that happily moved to Western Europe. So it might as well be infinite, because can we take 1 billion? You might as well just take them all. The other obvious thing is as well, it's going to fuck these countries, because they keep calling it the developing world. It's not developing. Not developing. It's developing like Diane Abacus's brain is, i.e. it's atrophy. It's stopped developing. There is no developing. Do they even call it the developing world anymore? Because it fucking isn't. Not developing. They called it the developing world in the 70s. Oh, developing. Has it developed? When something's developing, it's evolving. So you can't call it the developing world when it's been fucked for 100 years and it's not moved forward an inch. So they're never going to run out of people. They're never going to run out of people, ever. You can take 10, 20, 50, 100 million. Take 100 million people into Europe. You're still going to get another 100 million wanting to come over. So they either get with the programme and use boring centre-right immigration controls. Just basically, I've told you a lot this, you don't even need to change the laws. You don't need to change the laws. You don't need to introduce existing laws. You just need to impose the laws that we've already got. Immigration worked in the 80s. Before Tony Blair, it worked. We were probably taking in tens of thousands of people every year. Well, I told you, there was a black kid that moved into my school when I was like 14. He was the only one in the school because it was 1994. And it was called Femi. And his dad was like a doctor or something. Like when we used to get immigrants from Africa or Asia or the Middle East in the 80s and the early 90s, they were all like middle-class professionals. So they turned out fine. Well, you know, again, and I know a lot of you are more right-wing than me. I vociferously disagree with the far right on this. I don't think there's anything wrong with tens of thousands of people from foreign countries coming to England in a year. Tens of thousands is fine. You vet them, no criminals, no criminal records, and they've all got something to bring to the table. If they're a doctor or an engineer, or they've got something. But we don't need unskilled labour. We've got millions of NEETs, not in employment, education or training, men who need work. And this is what I keep saying about these Guardian reading twats. The reason they gob off about it is because they don't take their jobs. You know, they love taking the piss, taking their jobs. Well, no, they don't take your jobs. If you're a working professional and you write for the BBC, of course they're not taking your jobs. They can barely speak English. But they will take mine. Blokes like me, all my mates who left the Corps, 9 out of 10 haven't got a degree. 8 out of 10 haven't got a really skill, a proper trade, because they've joined the military when they were teenagers. So we leave and we get unskilled work. We end up doing like bus driving, truck driving, taxi driving, working in a factory, working on a building site. It's unskilled work. And we don't need to bring foreigners in to do that. We've got millions of people who can do it ourselves. It's completely ludicrous. So if they're not willing, anyway, I'll sum up because I'm talking about this for too long. If they're not willing to simply enforce the law, don't have to change anything, don't have to do anything drastic. Enforce the law, deport people that are there illegally, deport anybody who's been in trouble with the law, and then aggressively stringently vet people who want to come in, the problem would slowly fix itself. We could deport hundreds of thousands of criminals, get the population down, and then only allow in educated professionals. If they're not willing to start doing that across Europe, grasp the nettle and get it done, eventually they will vote for a fucking lunatic and they'll get it done. So pick. This is what I said the same about the pandemic. But we always say prevention is better than a cure, but we aren't interested in prevention. We don't do prevention. So you can see this coming and I can see this coming. We all know what's going to happen. You can enforce the laws and fix it the old-fashioned way, or you can put your head in the sand and in 10 years' time, you're going to get a fucking lunatic. So pick. What do you want? Make a choice. We all know, and this is why it's so staggering to me, because I'm just a normal working-class twat. I'm not a college. I don't have a college degree. I don't have a particularly high IQ. I'm just a normal bloke, and I can see this coming 50 miles away. I can see this staggering drunkenly over the hill 50 fucking miles away. We're going to get a lunatic. Then we'll end up with a massive conflict again, just like the bastard last time. In fact, it'll probably be an almost exact copy of WW2, won't it? There's some twats on the continent, the ones who have got the worst shit, or the French, the Italians, maybe the Germans, whatever. Whichever place turns completely to shit first, we'll vote for a maniac, and then we'll have to bastard fix it. The Americans and the Brits will have to go over there and sort that shit out all over again, because that's what they're going to do. They're going to vote for a lunatic. And all of the idiots will go, oh, I didn't see that coming. Oh, really? You didn't see that coming. I told you, it's like we caused Idi Amin, didn't we? It was us. And it's like the Americans when they're going on about, oh, we need elections. We get these people in and they install them. And then they say, oh, yeah, you have to have elections. Oh, you have to do that. You're not getting your aid money if you don't get elections. So we say to someone like Idi Amin, oh, I'll tell you what, we'll give you all this money, but you have to have elections. You make sure you have an election. And he goes, oh, I can't get the money unless I have an election. Okay, then I'll have an election. And he knows he can't win the election because he's from a minority tribe. So he goes, I know. I'll just kill all the other tribe and then we'll be in the majority. Happy days. So then he kills a few 100,000 fucking people. And then we go, whoa, I didn't see that coming. You didn't see that coming, did you? Like I said, Stevie Wonder with his head in a bin liner could have seen that fucking coming. And it's the same here. Of course they're going to vote for a lunatic. You think they're just going to allow it to get worse and worse and worse? You can't let your kids go out for a walk in Paris without getting fingered by an Algerian. And then you're like, oh, and then this bloke whose daughter gets skull fucked by an Algerian bloke, the guy's going to start voting for the far right. And all the politicians in the BBC, the talking heads in the Guardian, they go, whoa, what's he voting for that guy for? Do you know what I mean? That's what they did with Trump. That's what they did with Trump. They couldn't fathom it. They were like, whoa, what they're voting for that guy for? Well, because you shipped all the jobs to China. You told them that they were all stupid and ignorant. You told them you hated them. You told them the only people that mattered were the educated, limp-wristed soy boys. So they started voting for the orange man. I mean, it's not that weird, is it? Literally, that's how thick they are. So, I'll tell you what, I'll give you a good example. Do you think Lee Rigby's parents or the parents of little Safi who got scattered up the side of the Manchester, do you think the parents of all of the victims of the Manchester bomber, Salman Abedi, who we knew his parents would you oh shit, you can't use any of them words, can you, or you get pinged by, we knew that they were not nice people, right? Gaddafi was after them because they were extremists. Do you think the parents of all the victims at the Manchester bombing, do you think they've got more left-wing or more right-wing? Answers on a postcard. Do you think the victims of the grooming gangs, do you think if someone's daughters get butchered, they're going to be left-wing? They're going to be more likely to fucking subscribe to Owen Jones's podcast? Or are they going to get a little bit Nick Griffin? What do you think? Right? Mind blown. Whoa, didn't see that coming. You give your head a shake, you thick twat. These moron politicians and these idiotic commentators for the BBC and the Guardian. Whoa, didn't see that coming. Well, why are they doing this? What, Lee Rigby's mother started voting for the BNP after a foreign man sawed her son's fucking nut off in the middle of the street? Why would she do that? I just assumed she'd start drinking soy lattes and fucking reading The Independent. Yeah, of course she did. But this is and these are the people that they call the elites. If the people that run the UK are the elites, then the SAS are shit, and the Territorial Army, the Home Guard are elite. Morbidly obese. Chris Kyle was a pussy. John Candy was an elite fighting man. The people that they call elite have got shit for brains, and that's just so obvious, isn't it? So that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. And everyone's going to be surprised. Everyone's going to be like, whoa, society's gone completely to shit. Everyone's skinned. Streets are all fucked. Shite in the streets. Everything's on fire. Kids are getting raped. And then when they go for the right wing, they'll go, whoa, this is weird. Yeah, okay then. Weird. Shall I do at least one BBC story before I leave? Let me find something on the BBC. Israel raids camp as Palestinian. Oh, Christ. The gift that keeps on giving. It is. Israel-Palestine, the gift that keeps on giving. There's another example. Oh, that's going to get better. How's it going to get better? What's this miracle plan for things getting better? Jill, do you remember? I told you, you must remember the story. I'm sure I've told you guys this. I remember reading in the BBC years ago that Peter Kay did a BBC award ceremony about 3 months after she died. And he goes on the stage at his opening gag. He said, what's black, white and hungry? Jill Dando's cat. And the whole room just went stony silence. And apparently he went, it's been 3 months. And these are all the people who worked with her. And I was like, that's fucking brilliant. Oh, Peter Kay, that's quality. But yeah, it's shocking. Everything's totally fucked. What are we doing here? Vietnam bans Barbie movie over South China Sea map. What's that? Let's have a look. Well, you've got to feel sorry for. You've got to feel envious of the Vietnamese if they've banned the Barbie movie. Christ, banned it because it has a map depicting Chinese territorial claims in the South China Sea. Oh yeah. So you know what that'll be, as usual, because we all know this as well. Obviously, because we're sorely led and the Chinese have bribed and bought all of our politicians, all the powers that be spend a whole life kissing Chinese ass, don't they? Absolutely sucking up to them. So in this film, they'll definitely do whatever makes the Chinese happy. So if it pisses off Vietnam and the singers and all these places around them, they don't care. The executives, just like the NBA, the NFL, all these, the State Department, everything powerful and popular in the US now bends over backwards for Xi Jinping. YouTube probably do. They'll flag this stream because I mentioned the Chinese president, premier, and I'll end up, suddenly three kitchen sinks will boot me fucking kitchen door in. It's like they're all in thrall to the Chinese, and it's mad. So that's exactly what's gone on there. John Cena, yeah, Howie, that's exactly what happened. The NBA do it. Anyone who's going to piss off the Chinese gets finger fucked by the US government. So that's going to be exactly what that is. And again, it's not really a big story, is it? Because we know it goes on. The Chinese have got us by the short and curlies, and we've got to learn to love it. Because that's exactly what's going on there. What else? Independence Day evening, air travel chaos. Brilliant, yeah. Because like I said, everything's going to shit. 4th of July, hundreds of flights cancelled. Brilliant. Probably, yeah, we haven't got enough air hostesses as well, have we? Israel raids Jenin camp. Let's have a quick look at this one. Summary. Israel's launched a large-scale military operation against Palestinian militants in the Jenin refugee camps in the occupied West Bank. It started with multiple drone strikes, and Israel has sent in ground forces, leading to gun battles on the streets. Palestinian officials say 8 Palestinians have been killed. Oh, yeah, because they tell the truth, don't they? Have you seen the videos about Pallywood, the sort of propaganda that the Palestinians make? Again, the Israel-Palestine conflict is something that I don't touch on very often because, as I said, it's inexorably linked to theocracy. The battle lines are drawn based off your faith out there. And as a result, you can't mention it without saying this bloke's name a lot. Because like 50% of them are called that. And as soon as you start talking about the I word, the M word, mentioning that bloke's name, the J word, there's about 3 dozen words you can't say, or else YouTube instantly gimp you. So the main reason I never talk about Israel-Palestine is not because of ignorance. I actually know quite a lot about the conflict. The main reason is because you can't talk about it. Because if you criticize the followers of the illiterate epileptic desert midget, if you criticize them, you get binned. So I never talk about it. That's it. And this is the other point, the other side of this argument are the what's some synonyms for them? The other boys, the lads who really like Moses. So basically, you can't talk about this subject because both sides have protected characteristics. So you just have to let them continue fucking up the world. Because ultimately, think about it. 9/11 goes down to this, right? The main reason the hundreds of millions of the followers, the regulars at Alan's legendary snack bar, the main reason they absolutely hate the Americans is because the Americans give plenty of money and arms and support to these boys. I'm just trying to avoid all the words. To the IDF, we'll just use that. They help the IDF out, so all of Alan's lads despise the Americans and knock the Twin Towers down and Osama. It all goes down to that. So this conflict has been fucking up the entire world for decades, and it will continue to fuck up the entire world. And we can't talk about it because if you do, you'll fall afoul of either side are protected by Neil and Susan and Zuckertwat and fucking Doorstop and all the rest of them. So yeah, can't really talk about it. Who cares? As long as they're only bombing the shit out of each other, I couldn't give a monkey's fart. Just don't bring it to Middlesbrough, right? Middlesbrough's already on fire and war-torn. I've seen more dead babies in the car park of Aldi in Middlesbrough than I ever saw in Iraq or Afghanistan. So they've got their own problems to worry about in Middlesbrough. We don't need to be importing more of these lads. All right? Anyway, right, 45 minutes. You can have that for now, you twats. Thanks for watching. I'm going to go and get pissed for the 4th of July. Well, the 3rd of July. But as you know, that's how the Brits do it, isn't it? Like, if it's your birthday, You go out on the piss the night before so that you can be hungover on your birthday. So I'm going out on the piss in Ventura, just up the street, and it's meant to be really nice there. And we're going to get a hotel and go boozing for America's holiday. Happy Treason Day, you ungrateful colonial twats. All right, that's what I obviously celebrate that now. I'm an American. Thanks for watching. Cheers, everyone. I'll see you all very soon. Have a good Monday. Probably not really anything going on in England. Have a good Monday, and I will make some content this week, and I'll probably see you soon. All right. Thanks for checking it out. Toodle pip. Cheers.